Owen Jones of The Guardian put out a video of an interview with me at one of our pubs in which I believe he completely misrepresented Wetherspoon's pay and employment practices. In fact, Wetherspoon pays an average of 15.8% more than the statutory minimum wage and the national living wage, as it's called, which applies to people over 25. Owen didn't get the figures right and made very critical comments which aren't justified. Owen also heavily edited the video, and he left out what I think is a very important fact. That is that Wetherspoon pays over 50% of its profits as a bonus and in free shares to people who work in the company. And over 80% of this bonus, it was over £40 million in 2018, goes to people who work in the pubs. So that's a very important factor. We pay more than anyone else, any other company of which I'm aware, other than perhaps John Lewis, and we probably pay more than them. So that's something that should be taken into account. It shouldn't have been edited out, Owen. Wetherspoon has also adopted a share scheme for employees that was introduced by the last Labour government in about 2004, and we now have over 10,000 employees who've been allocated shares, an average number of shares of about 350, worth perhaps around £4,000 today. So I think that's an important factor. In addition, looking at Wetherspoon's employment practices overall, we've got 93% of our staff now on guaranteed minimum hours, which is very popular. I think it's more than any other company, but someone can tell me if I'm wrong. We've got a very good apprenticeship system with about 1,000 people on the apprenticeship scheme. We've got about 10 people per pub who've been there more than 5 years, which I think is very unusual. And we've got an average of 3 people per pub who've been there more than 10 years. So I think that says something in a world where there's a lot of students, a lot of part-time work and so on. We've tried to encourage people to stay for a long time. We've got very good connections with Leeds Metropolitan University, and several hundred people have got degrees while working for the company. And all that has led, in combination with the bonus systems and so on, to us being named by the Top Employers Institute in association with The Guardian as a top employer. And that's for the last 16 or 17 years. And I don't think The Guardian or the Top Employers Institute would put their name to something if Wetherspoon wasn't regarded as a reputable employer. One point that Owen edited out of the video relates to tax. Wetherspoon actually pays a huge amount of tax, 43% of our sales. Every pint that goes over the bar, 43% of the cost goes to the government in one tax or another, whether it's VAT, alcohol duty, climate change levies, and so on. In fact, Wetherspoon pays 1,000th, just about 1,000th of all the taxes paid in the UK. And in other words, you only need just over 1,000 companies like Wetherspoon, and no one else has to pay any tax whatsoever. So we should get credit for that. It's almost £10 of tax to £1 of profits. So not only thanks to the hard work of our employees do we generate a lot of jobs, a lot of customers, but also we're a big contributor to the economy. That's a point that should be made in our favour, Owen. A website a lot of people look at is called Glassdoor, and that's where employees rate their own company. And Wetherspoon does okay on that. We're rated at, I think, 3.3. Some of our major competitors are around 2.5, Fuller's, a very good pub company, just slightly ahead of us, and we're almost exactly the same as the Guardian. So I'm sure the Guardian is quite a good employer, does its best, may not be perfect, but I'm sure it's trying to improve, and so are we.